What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 16, Episode 13. She. Just says she. What kind of title is she? Honestly, though, that's probably the worst part of the episode, is just the title is weird. Because, yeah, I'm finally invested again. After most of this season, I've been bitching and complaining about how boring it is and how I'm not really connected. All of a sudden, like that, I'm suddenly feeling invested, and a lot of it is surrounding the idea that Ziva might be coming back. Um, I did find it very weird how they ended up killing her off, so I'm glad that they're not just doing it that way. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I get the idea that okay, if your actress has to leave the show, sometimes you have to do some weird stuff, and you're like, oh crap, well, I guess we'll just write her off in this way. But for Ziva, it definitely did not feel right for them to just say, oh yeah, she's dead. um, so I don't know, I feel much better that it's possible that her death might have been fabricated. I don't know why, but there's a letter Ellie gets at the end, says, for the safety of my family, please keep my secret, which tells me that she feels like Denozo and her daughter, because I'm pretty sure I know Denozo's with her kid, but I can't remember if it was her daughter or her son. I'm pretty sure it was a daughter though. It's been so long since that episode, I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, this one just much more compelling. I will say the whole plot line where Ellie feels like she's worried she won't measure up to Ziva, and she feels like she wants to emanate Ziva and kind of, be the agent that Ziva was. A little bit out of left field and a little bit of problem for me, because don't get me wrong, I get the idea that they're going for, where Ellie wants to be a good NCIS agent and Ziva was as well. So she wants to learn from Ziva. But they word it in a way where it makes it sound like she wants to be what Ziva was. And I kind of wish they didn't word it that way, just because I've talked about before with Casey. It feels like Casey has literally just come in and she's the new Abby, and they're trying to make us think, oh, she's just like Abby, guys, when she's not. um, and obviously Bishop is her own character, but when they started making it seem like she wanted to be Ziva and she wanted to be just like her, and she like starts reading these books and she's like, see, this is what Ziva did, I can do that too. I'm just like, no, but you are a different type of person than Ziva was. So you can't be like Ziva. I don't know. I feel like that should have been kind of a little bit of a message there for her. Don't get me wrong. I liked what they did with it, but I feel like that was kind of, it wasn't worded correctly, and it worries me that they didn't really correct that as the episode went on. It still kind of felt like Bishop was in the right, trying to follow in Ziva's footsteps, and I just don't think that's a smart idea, because you got to be who you are. And yeah, you can take different techniques from Ziva. You can look at how she conducted her cases and maybe learn a bit from her technique, but to try to emanate her and try to be like she was as an agent, that's essentially throwing away your whole character. And that's, from a writing standpoint, I don't think they did a good job of showing that it was more about trying to learn from her rather than trying to be her. But anyways, with that being said, the other couple things I thought they did really well. First of all, I felt like the whole thing with the don't make it personal, I love that little plot line thrown in there. Because, I mean, Ellie, she basically called Gibbs out on it. She basically said, you make it personal all the time. The reason you chewed out Ziva for giving this case away is because it was personal for you, because this woman was Navy. So, yeah, it kind of has been something that I think a lot of people have probably wondered throughout the seasons. It's like, Rule 10, don't make it personal. But sometimes it does get very personal, Gibbs. Like, you gotta admit, there have been many times where it's gotten personal. And I get the idea that, oh, well, Ziva took it personal and now she's dead. Doesn't really correlate, because I don't know. I don't think she died. Well, died. She might not have actually died, but I don't think she died because she took something personally. If I remember right, it was like a terrorist attack, like on her family, pretty much. that ended up getting her killed. If I remember right. Again, it's been a while since I've seen the episode where she died, so I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I don't think it was directly tied to her taking something personally. You might have been able to, string together some coincidences where she took something personally that led to this, that led to this, that led to this, that led to her dying, but I don't think it, like, she took something too personally, and then she, like this case, she took it very personally. She was still investigating without the rest of the team knowing. So this one was something that she took it personally, and it's good that she did because she didn't let the case die. I will say the case itself wasn't anything too crazy or too fantastic. I did feel like the fact that the sheriff kind of wrote stuff off so quickly felt like he should have been connected a bit more. But it turns out he just sort of comes in, he's like, hey, this is my case. And then Vance is like, no, it's not. And then he just sort of, oh, okay, well, then I'll go do this instead. I felt like he should have been a bit more involved because it seemed like he might have been hiding something. I'm not saying make him the bad guy, but kind of similar to the Secretary of Defense from a couple episodes ago. You make him seem like he's trying to cover some stuff up. You make it seem like he's almost pushing against the team. It's like, no, this is my case type of thing. Give him a reason other than, oh, he's just a dick. Because that's pretty much what the Secretary of Defense turned out to be. So, but the case itself, just turns out to be these two random guys. Honestly, I don't even really remember why they took the mother in the first place. It seemed a little random to me. I might actually have to I might have to look it up and see, just because I'm still struggling to really grasp. I thought they might throw something in at the end as to why he did this, but anyways, but no, the whole thing with don't take it personal, but also I really liked the story with the girl and her mother. First of all, they showed the mother to be super smart. Some of the stuff that she did to get her daughter out of there, very, very clever. And the little girl, it was weird because facially, she wasn't that great of an actress, but her voice was spot on. Because the look on her face, you could see the tears were streaming, which honestly, they didn't even look real tears. I'm wondering if they CGI tears in. That's how kind of goofy it looked. But her facial expression was not super, convincing to me. She just kind of looked like she was doing this, and that was pretty much it. It wasn't even, sad. Really sad. It was just, here. But her voice was so sad that even though her facial expression didn't show it to me, I felt it through her voice. It was very weird. I've never seen a child actor whose face seemed kind of emotionless, but her voice was just, it nearly brought me to tears at the end whenever mom showed up. And again, her facial expression was not super excited, she just found her mom that she thought might die, but her voice was so convincing that she was so relieved that I actually teared up a little bit. I'm like, this is kind of sweet. It was really weird. I don't know. Most of the time, child actors, they're either hit or miss. They're either fantastic or they're terrible. She was somewhere in the middle, and most of the time you don't get that with child actors. So, anyways, but yeah, I did like the whole story though. I like the fact when the dad came in, and she was once again, the voice just, please save my mom. It was so just heartbreaking to see that she was so convinced that he could just go and save her. That whole storyline was touching and definitely brought some feels to me. But overall, I don't know if Ziva's gonna be kind of a main story point going forward this season, or if it's just kind of there. I feel like I kind of wonder if the CIA looking into NCIS and then Ziva, if those stories are going to somehow correlate, or if it's just kind of happening at the same time. I guess we'll find out as we go forward. But yeah, much, much better episode, especially compared to the last three I just watched. So that's it for this one. On to the next one. See you there. And now episode 14, Once Upon a Tim. What is this? After a season of mostly crap so far, 2 good episodes back to back. What the heck? And okay, not all of them have been crap, but mostly it's just not been as fun. It's not been enjoyable. This one was good, just like the last one, but this one was more good in a fun and enjoyable way, whereas the last one is more interesting and kind of suspenseful almost. But yeah, this one was a lot of fun. You have references back to Tim, in his high school days. Which, by the way, whoever they got to play Tim in high school, spot on. I swear, when I was looking at him, like, wow, he looks just like Tim does when he was at. I mean, it's very very well cast. But yeah, I mean, just watching him in high school, some of the little quick references back, like the one, it's like, what did you do on this computer, Tim? And is like showing him like, first he's playing video games, and then it's showing him like looking up Sports Illustrated swimsuit, and then also like him and Chloe in front of the computer. I was just like, I don't know, just little quick things like that, very very funny. Whenever they're like, how do you know that's Chloe's IP address? And then it shows him drawing the hearts with the IP address on it, or the computer number on it. A lot of very, very funny things in this one. Sloane apparently realized that Chloe was his first kiss, and so she's telling everybody about it. I don't know, just very, very funny moments. Even down to the fact that the one guy who came in to audit everybody from the DoD, or I'm pretty sure he mentioned he was from DoD, but for some reason he was auditing people, and I don't know why exactly. I guess he was there and realized Tim was getting his computer out, and I don't know exactly how he tied in, but it was funny to see that he's actually the bad guy, and so Gibbs gets to take down the auditor. It was too funny. But yeah, very funny moments in this. Some good moments with Tim and his dad back when he was in high school. I will say the one scene that definitely was not good, but it was kind of hilarious and how not good it was Tim's talking to his dad about like, oh, you say the Navy made you the man you are, but you're being so vague about it. You won't even tell me that. And then all of a sudden his dad just, first of all, it didn't look that convincing. Second of all, the sound it made was not that convincing. And third of all, he's talking about the Navy made me the man I am today. What kind of a man bitch slaps another man? Bitch slaps his son like that? Like, I'm sorry. I'm not somebody that gets into fights, but I don't think I would ever consider myself a man because it was so bad because it didn't work for the scene. And considering the context of it, to see a man talking about the Navy made me who I am, they made me a man, bitch slap, to your own son. It's not a bah, because that would be more. It's still not. I mean, I still think if you're willing to do that to your kid, it's one thing to spank them, discipline them like that. But if you're gonna slap your son, your high school senior son in the face, you're probably not a man deep down. You're probably a coward. But consider like what a manly slap is. If somebody is telling you off and you get angry and you decide to slap him because of it, that is not a manly slap. That is a manly slap. So to see him, I'm a man, the Navy made me a man. So bad. So bad. Anyways, but yeah, overall, I mean, it was very enjoyable. I think the funniest scene, though, because I talked about some of the funny moments, the funniest scene had to be at the end when Tim and Chloe are talking about exactly how everything went down. And then Delilah rolls up and she's like, who is she? And Tim's like, and she's just like, no, I'm just kidding. We met in the lobby. She's like, all right, let's go to dinner. And Tim's like, wait, but you just told me the babysitter. I have to watch the kids. Like, oh yeah, you're not going. I'm gonna go with her. And then the best part of all of that, because I'm already laughing, and then all of a sudden Chloe's like, we may have been more than just friends. She's like, oh, okay, tell me all. And you can just see the look on Tim's face. I'm just like, yep. I can imagine. I mean, I don't want to imagine, but that would be a horrible situation to be in as the guy in a relationship. But yeah, very very funny moments. It ends, on a touching moment with his dad, where we get to see his dad, I guess, sort of open up a little bit more to him and show a softer side and pretty much apologize for everything and say, look, you get to make the decision on this. I made a lot of mistakes, but this is one, you've got to make this decision if you want to go or not. And then also shows in the picture that he gets to flip down and see his dad wearing tap shoes at a young age. So very touching moment. But then it could have just ended it there and been like, oh, well, that was a nice wrap up to the episode. But to really cap this episode, then Tim walks down into autopsy with his tap shoes on, closes the doors, you hear the tapping, you hear the music start playing, and all of a sudden here he comes across the door doing his tap routine. Perfect ending to the episode. Overall, just a very fun episode. Some good moments in it. I did like the one little nod, because we know after the last episode with Bishop finding out about Ziva, they're not just sort of throwing it away. We see her look at a picture of DiNozzo and McGee, and she said something about, secrets are not something I hold in high regard right now, or something along those lines. And just the little touch of like, okay, that story's not dead yet. We are going to talk about this a little bit more, just to let us know, hey, we're not forgetting about this story. I know we dropped a bomb at the end of last episode. We're not forgetting about it right now. Overall, though, a very fun episode, and I really hope they can keep this momentum, because first half of the season so far has not been good, but these two picked it up. I hope this keeps up. I hope I can continue to enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed these, because, man, this has been good. These last two have been good. So on to the next episode. I'll see you there. And finally, episode 15, Crossing the Line. This one almost had me going. It almost had me convinced that it had gone back to crap, but it actually ended on a nice note. Overall, the whole thing with Torres, it was pissing me off so badly. I was so frustrated. I'm sitting here thinking, God, this episode sucks. What is the point of all of this? This is garbage. Torres is basically back to the same character that I thought he had grown out of a little bit earlier this season. There's been this kind of story that he's not really being the agent that we know he can be, and Gibbs is trying to bring that out of him. And this seemed like a good chance to talk about that, and they seemed to just be ignoring it for most of the episode. He was just ignoring the kids, and he was complaining about how hard it was to deal with them, even though he was not dealing with them. I'm just like, this is frustrating. This is annoying. Why are they doing this? And then they kind of turned it around with this one kid, Max, who was being a dick the whole time. You find out that he was there because his father died, and I kind of remember the NCIS getting attacked, and his father was apparently there and had died that day. So he was there to kind of get some closure, and of course Nick messed with that because he was just ignoring him and treating him as an inconvenience. So luckily Jack called him out on all of that, and I was like, okay, good. And then he has a nice moment with the kid and bonds with him over the fact that he also lost his father. But they didn't talk about it, but I like the fact that he did bring up, my father walked out on me, because it does bond them. But also for this kid Max, this is a guy who it was even worse for him. Because for Max, he lost his father in an awful way, and it's very tragic. But for Nick, his father just decided he didn't want to be a part of his life anymore. And I feel like that emotionally is worse. To have that feeling of why didn't he want me? Not, oh, my father died because some evil people attacked the place where he works. So I really do feel like that was a nice moment for them. They didn't go too in depth about it. They didn't talk a whole lot. They just kind of, talked about the moment, and I don't know, it just felt really nice. As far as the case, it's pretty straightforward. Guy dies, overboard. There seems to be foul play because he was an excellent swimmer. No reason why he should have drowned. And then all of a sudden, I did find it a little weird that they were like, it looks like he might have been hit with a flail? Is that what it's called? Whatever the little, the mace-like things back in the day. It seems like he might have been hit with that, but they just sort of tossed that aside. I was like, oh, okay, that's it's kind of interesting. I mean, not many people are going to have that. And then all of a sudden Jimmy's like, actually, it wasn't that. It was he hit his head on a piece of ship. And I'm like, okay. That was a weird plot line to suddenly bring up and then immediately throw away. But ultimately you find out that his sister had been, like, basically selling these energy drinks that had drugs in them. And she accidentally sent him a case with the drugs, and that caused him to have a heart attack. And so that's how he ended up dying. So, pretty straightforward. But yeah, overall, the episode was not as good as the last two, of course, but it redeemed itself in the end. Like, it gave Torres a redemption, which I feel like is definitely needed considering how he was acting for most of this episode. But aside from that, the only other thing to talk about is probably the most infuriating and triggering thing for me as a gamer. First of all, let me go ahead and put... Yeah, okay. So, this is a PlayStation 4 controller. This is what was being used in the episode. Whenever Nick sent him into Casey's lab, which, by the way, her anger just seems more like, I don't know, mildly inconvenienced. Like, she sounds angry, but the look on her face, it reminds me of the girl that was taken a couple episodes ago. That one girl that was taken, I talked about how her voice was very sad sounding, but on her face you couldn't really see it. Which, for a child actor, it's not that bad, because sometimes child actors just don't even have, like, the voice acting. But at least this girl had the voice acting, she just didn't have the... But for Casey, okay, she's not a child actor. She's an adult. And her anger was not coming... It was coming off in her voice as anger. She was like, Torres, my office, now! And you might notice my face looked angry when I said that. Her face, Torres, my office, now! That was her facial expression. That's not anger. That is emotionless. And honestly, the more I see her, if she doesn't have a big grin on her face, there's no emotion on her face at all. Like, she cannot do... The crying scene was okay, but she can't do any other emotion aside from, I'm just super happy to be here. Like, that's about it. Anyways, so they're in the office, they're playing games, and some of you may already know where I'm going with this. You see how this controller is in use? It's turned on. Not like that, but it's turned on right now. Yeah, because the PlayStation is on, because I'm playing and watching at the same time, because I can. When you're having them sitting there playing and the light is off, because guess what? I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick, because honestly it's about to die anyway, so I'm going to switch over to the other controller. Turn off the device. Oh look, the light's off! And they're playing, and the light was off on their controllers. It was almost like they weren't really playing. Huh. Like, how hard is it to just turn the controllers on? And not even that. How hard is it to just let them play a little bit? Like, they don't even have to really play, but you really just set them up in a room, gave them these controllers that everybody who has a PlayStation knows the light, it has to be on for the controller to be on. And you're just like, yeah, I'm sure our audience won't know that they're not really playing. What are we, stupid? The light's not on, and on top of that, somebody needed to direct the girl. The guy was okay, he was sitting there, like, playing a little bit, but the girl's like... I'm like, that's not how you play the game. Not even like, I'm pretty sure they were playing, it looked like Modern Warfare maybe. But, yeah, you use the triggers to shoot, and sometimes, the grenade and stuff like that. Honestly, I've not actually played the new Modern Warfare, but I've played the old Call of Duty games, and I know, like, yeah, those are the triggers, but that's not playing. That is not playing. God. I know it's a silly thing to get upset about, but geez, how hard is it to direct a scene like that? Like, because I've been a part of a couple short films, if I were in a scene like that, I would know, alright, so I don't necessarily have to be playing, but at least make it look like I'm playing, have the controller on, maybe be pressing some of the buttons, like that. Like, you're playing, you're just like, come on. Something like that. this is a professional set. They're being paid so much money to make this show, and you can't get something that simple right. And I don't know, it was a pretty glaring and obvious issue for me. It's just, again, kind of frustrating that I'm sitting here, I'm not making any money doing these short films where we try to make sure every little detail is correct, and then they're making loads of money, and you can't even turn the controller on. Like, okay, so the girl is not necessarily doing this right, but at least have the controller on so that way it's not that obvious that you don't care. Anyways, but yeah, overall, for these 3 episodes, it was much better. It was much better than most of the season has been. I don't know if they're going to keep this up. I hope so, because I would rather be invested than not, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong, the reason why I decided to go with this one is because I had a couple games that I wanted to play more. And so I wanted to have a show that I could sort of have on and watch and kind of pay attention, but also, like, I could play a game a little bit too and just sort of listen at times. Because there are moments in the show when I know I have to, all right, watch and see what's going on. But most of the time, if I'm just listening, I can hear it and I could say, all right, yeah, that's what's happening. And I can get that. So anyways, with all that being said, though, that's it for these 3 episodes. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Future NCIS, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.